All right. Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Liberty Dad podcast, a discussion on politics and culture. I am your host, DL, America's most objective libertarian. If you're tuning in live, thank you so much for giving me your time so early. Remember, if you're a candidate running for office and you'd like an opportunity to be on the show, then head on over to candidates.libertydad.com and get yourself booked. The link is in the show notes. Available times are Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 7:30 a.m. Wednesday and Thursday evenings at 7:30 p.m., all times being Eastern. Remember, tonight, Thursday, 7:30 p.m., I have Alan Buckley who is running for U.S. Senate out of Georgia. He will be joining me tonight to discuss his run for U.S. Senate. But in the meantime, today's guest also joins us from Georgia to discuss his run for U.S. House, the 14th District, none other than Marjorie Taylor Greene's old seat. Please welcome Andrew Underwood to the show. Goodness. Andrew, how are you?
Hello. I am feeling delighted to be here. So
Awesome. Man, I tell you what, folks, today has been a frustrating morning. We are late because I had audio issues. Luckily, I was able to scramble and get it resolved while Andrew waited patiently. So thank you so much, sir, for that. All right. Let's dive into this, man. Let's not waste any more time. What inspired you to run for U.S. House?
I really did not want to run. I desperately
that's a good start. You know, when it comes to politicians, that's a good start. Like, I didn't really want to, but I had to.
Yeah. The thing was, Georgia has some absolutely horrendous ballot access laws. And we struggle to get someone on the ballot because of it. However, with Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning, we had to have a special election. And in that, the ballot access requirements were waived.
Oh, fascinating.
So, yes. And we have this jungle primary thing going on where we have multiple people from the same party going on, particularly the Republicans.
Right.
This being a very Republican-heavy district, the fact that the vote was split that many ways, I felt made it so that there was a legitimate chance of a third-party candidate like a Libertarian getting in. However, I was waiting for somebody else to step up, and I asked several people, like, "Can you do it?" Nobody could. Nobody was willing to, or had the time and energy available for it.
Right.
And several people started asking me, and I refused, I think, 4 times. And
Fifth time's a charm.
Yeah, eventually I'm like, okay, look, if nobody else is going to do it, somebody's got to step up. We can't let this kind of opportunity go.
Right.
And so I'm like, fine, I'll do it. I don't.
Okay, so you were willing to do it, and I believe in Georgia you still have to be nominated by the party, correct?
Yes, and I was, so that was good.
Awesome. So you have the support of the party, the Libertarian Party. In Florida, folks, it's a little different. If you are registered as a Libertarian, you can run as a Libertarian. That's it. Although we don't have the ballot access issues that Georgia and many other states have. So let's talk about some of these candidates. Well, not really, just broadly, not really specifically. But it looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I went to Ballotpedia. Looks like you have 3 Democrats running, 1 Libertarian, that's you, 1 Independent, 12 Republicans who are going to be on the ballot, 5 more who withdrew, but their name will be on the ballot. And is that correct?
Yes. I believe initially we had 19 Republicans, but I guess a couple of them didn't.
Right. I mean, but it's basically correct, even if we're
Yeah.
one or two off.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
we've got a ton of candidates on the
Yeah.
ballot, which in my opinion is all to the good. If you more options is better for the American people.
Right. Now, let me ask you though, because it seems to me like, do you know the order in which names will appear on the ballot?
Alphabetical by last name, which
Oh,
puts me at the very bottom.
bummer. All
Well,
right.
I mean, it could be worse. I could be right in the middle.
Right.
At
Well,
least at the bottom, that's a
yeah.
thing that.
So what do you think? Do you think that voters are just based on going to the poll, election, got a long list of names? Do you think their eyeballs are going to scan all the way down to see all of the candidates? Like, do you feel like this is an additional uphill battle for you because there's so many candidates and you're the last one?
I mean, possibly.
Mhm,
However, this being a special election, it's not being held at the normal time. It's being held on March 10th,
mhm.
so less than a week from now.
Right.
But most people uh, are not paying enough attention
Mhm,
that they know to do this. It's mostly the highly informed voters
mhm.
who are coming in. And I imagine most of them know who they're planning on voting for before they get in.
Got it.
Uh, so the order I do not think really matters quite as much. Now,
Mhm.
yes, there are still going to be people who don't scan all the way down.
Right.
Of course, there are going to be people who just scan down, not looking at which party someone's associated with.
Mhm, mhm,
But uh, I mean, I'm not so much worried about the order of the names because
mhm.
there's nothing I can do about that.
Gotcha. Right. Right.
I mean, short of changing my name legally, which I'm not game to do, and
Yeah.
also it'd
Yeah.
be too late anyway. So
Right. And I think there's still a chance here. I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy. Um, and here, tell me if my thinking is right or wrong, or if it's in line with what you and others have said, amongst yourselves. Is yeah, you have a lot of Republicans. However, that may split the Republican vote quite a bit, which means rather than going hard, head to head with one or two Republicans, it's head to head with somewhere around 12 with additional five names that may get some votes, which means like you said, the number of people that are coming in the people that are coming in are likely they know who they're going to vote for. They have an idea who they're going to vote for. And so we have that crowd of people that are like, I'm voting for the Libertarian candidate. I'm voting for Andrew Underwood. And there's nobody to split the vote with you, but there are people for your opposing parties that are going to get that will get the vote split to some degree, which means they'll lower, you'll stay basically the same, the people that wanted to vote for you in the first place, which in terms, the way I look at it, that says you have a higher chance of being in the runoff. Am I correct?
yes, that is absolutely correct. Now, it's still big uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
It always is for libertarians.
Right.
But I mean, that's one thing that I respect about people who are willing to run third party, especially in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to go through all those hoops that you wouldn't have to as a Republican or Democrat,
Right.
that tells me that you have at least some strong principles that you're standing up for.
Right.
Because if you're absolutely corrupt, you're going to take the easy way out and go
Yeah.
for one of the parties that doesn't have these restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think who do you anticipate being in the runoff? Like, we'll just say that your name is going to be in there. Okay. We'll just, for hypothetical sake. So who else would you expect to be in the runoff with you? Because it's only top two, correct? Am I correct that it's
Yes,
top
that's
two?
correct.
So who would you anticipate being you going head to head with after the special election?
Well, based on what I've been seeing, I think a strong contender is either Clay Fuller or Colton Moore.
Okay.
But personally, it looks to me, just based on the number of people I've seen not vocally supporting him, Clay Fuller is the one to watch out
Gotcha.
for.
So what's the top issue that separates you from Clay Fuller?
Oh my goodness.
And we're looking forward a little bit. Obviously, this is not going to be so relevant to the special election so much as it would be the general. But what's the top issue? You can even name two if you have a couple.
Honestly, he and I don't agree on much.
Okay.
Clay Fuller has been endorsed by Donald Trump. And I do not wish to denigrate him in any way because
You already did. Just kidding.
I don't wish to denigrate him as a person.
Fair enough.
But I do believe that he is looking to rubber stamp anything that the president wants.
Got it.
He is not looking to have an agenda of his own. He doesn't have policies of his own that he has espoused. It is all that his job is to support the president in all matters, in all cases.
Got it.
And I personally think the role of Congress is to be an independent body. We have three ostensibly co-equal branches of government, and we're supposed to be checking one another.
Right.
So outright saying that you wish to rubber stamp everything that the executive branch does, I would think is the opposite of what a congressman should be doing.
Right. And it's part of our problem that we have now, where we have an executive branch that has basically gotten, in the boomer language, too big for its britches.
I mean, yes. And we can't just blame Donald Trump for that. Nearly every president has expanded the role of the executive branch in some way or another. They have increased the power of their office. That's just the nature of the presidency, it seems.
Right.
Now, one president that I can say did not was William Henry Harrison, on account of, dying before he had the option of doing so. But
it's a natural barrier.
Yes. But even so, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who did not do a little bit of power grabbing.
Right.
And Congress, on the other hand, at least since I've been alive, has been abdicating responsibilities.
Right.
And so naturally, that means that the branches are not co-equal anymore.
Right.
And I want to see that restored.
Good.
So that's probably the biggest difference. And
Gotcha.
it covers a lot of the things that he and I disagree with.
Well, let's dive into some of your issues from your website, and let's talk about some of the things that might appeal to voters. Now, we're going to touch upon some controversy here a little bit. So regarding data centers, you took some heat a while back from libertarians on social media. I believe it was last month, because you indicated that you would, quote, regulate data centers plaguing Northwest Georgia. So to talk about this, define plaguing, and then discuss the data center issues and why you believe that regulation is necessary.
Well, the people in my district are not fond of the data centers because it has been increasing their electrical bills. It's been not consuming water. It's but my issue with the data centers goes in a different direction. I am concerned about them on a privacy and surveillance level.
Okay.
The way that they might be used by government. And either way, I feel like we need to at least have a discussion about what the role of these is and how we can best move forward in order to mitigate the negative effects thereof.
Are you
'Cause,
familiar with what the data centers in your area like are doing? Like what they're set up for already? Are they for like social media? Are they for AI? Like, do you have? Are you familiar with that information?
I am not strictly
Hmm.
familiar with that. However, I can say that at least a few of them, we're getting new ones.
Hmm.
So, based on what's going on, I would say that several of them have to be uh, at least at least partially involved in AI.
Hmm. Got it.
And I have no issue with AI as a technology overall. However, every new technology can be used for either good or ill.
Hmm.
And right now, AI has some absolutely fantastic possibilities that it opens up,
Hmm.
but it also has some really scary ones, especially when it comes to government utilizing it.
Right.
And so I think that there is a bit of proceed with caution.
Right.
Uh, it's like I am cautiously optimistic about the technology as a whole,
Hmm.
but I feel like we definitely need to have some restrictions, at least on what government can do with it. And when it comes to data centers, if we can have closed loop cooling,
Hmm.
uh, that will mitigate a lot of the water usage issues.
What is closed loop cooling?
Ah, yes, there are two main methods of cooling for data centers. Uh, one draws in water and cools it directly, but releases the water uh, back into the environment. Sometimes it's contaminated. A lot of that water boils off,
Hmm.
uh, and so whatever bodies of water they are using tend to become uh, increasingly contaminated and will be boiled off and evaporate.
Okay.
So the water level drops.
Okay.
Closed loop cooling, on the other hand, is slightly less efficient, but its consumption of water is vastly less.
Hmm.
It uses the same water uh, again and again to cool uh, and because of that, it's not releasing contaminants into the environment,
Hmm.
and it is consuming vastly less water.
Gotcha. So
Uh,
it's kind of so what you're advocating for, if people don't really understand that, sounds more like the radiator system in your car,
yes,
right? We're not using chemicals per se, not radiator fluid, just water, but it's just you have the water going in, it collects the heat, the energy, it comes out, it goes somewhere else, it dissipates the energy. Now the water's cool again or cooler and cycles back through, and then so you're
yes,
not releasing either the energy into the bodies of water, or any particular contaminants from going through that system
yes,
that might end up in the water. You're not releasing that back out, so that people's drinking water and whatnot, lakes
right.
and all that good stuff is fine.
And I
Okay.
feel like while that will not mitigate the problem of people's energy bills going up,
Hmm.
it will at least help with the environmental and water consumption issue.
Hmm.
And I mean, we can talk about other technologies.
Hmm.
There are always people coming up with new ways of
Hmm.
making things better. And the more people we have working on those problems, the better off we're going to be.
Right.
But in the meantime, I would really like to see, some kind of uh, I don't want to say regulation. I do not like that word at all. And I really don't want to have to regulate these things,
Right.
but at least not from a government level.
Gotcha.
It's, but we really need, as a society, to have this conversation. And I think that if people can vote with their wallets a
Mm-hmm.
bit. And, it would be foolish to say that government doesn't already have a role in these things when you talk
Right.
about zoning and stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of that is at a state and local level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that the federal government should be getting involved with.
So,
However,
so then
yeah,
why would it be on your website since you are running for a federal position?
I want to restrict the use of these things by the government.
Mm-hmm.
I want uh, specific allowed methods of using it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, instead of blacklisting what you're not allowed to do, I want to whitelist what you are allowed to do as
Gotcha.
government.
Gotcha.
That's
So if
my
I,
big
so if
concern.
I understand then correctly, let's see if we can clear up the controversy or make it worse, whichever one happens, right? So you're running for a federal office, and in that position, you would support regulation that limits or whitelist what government is permitted to do with AI, perhaps even other similar technologies like surveillance and whatnot. You
Mhm.
would limit that. But then when it comes to the matter of say water usage, energy bills, those kind of things. Number one, it sounds like you're saying, hey, that's at the state level, but you personally would consider supporting perhaps some limitations that are at the state level, but not so much at the federal level. Am I getting this correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And because I don't think it's the role of the federal government to step in on that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Now, there are ways that without legislation, that I could support local and state level politicians who are trying to
Hmm.
uh, make this better.
Gotcha. So,
So,
so libertarian peers that were upset with you, maybe in the more strict sense, it would be fair for them to be upset. But at the end of the day, you're at least falling in line with what the Constitution should be, which would be like, hey, at the federal level, we're going to have limits on government more so than anything else, and then the state and local levels, those would be where we could put limits on private entities and whatnot.
yes,
Fair enough.
and it is fair. It is a fair criticism
Hmm.
for libertarians to be a little upset about this.
Okay.
Uh, but the truth is, a group of libertarians is called an argument.
Right.
We're inherently individualists,
Hmm.
and we're naturally going to disagree about something.
Right.
And I understand that's going to happen. You can never make all libertarians happy.
Right.
But this is something that the people of my district care deeply about.
All right.
And I'm not just looking to be a libertarian in office, I'm looking to give my constituents the best representation they can get.
Can't argue with that, man. So let's talk about congressional term limits. On your site, you've proudly said, "Hey, I've signed this pledge with an organization called U.S. Term Limits." What is the significance of that? And then, how many other candidates do you know of have signed such a pledge?
I would say the most of the candidates actually have signed that same pledge.
Okay.
However, I am the only one who has publicly stated
Mm,
that I will self-limit my own
gotcha.
number of terms. That is, it's like nobody else was willing to commit to that.
Right. And why are you self-limiting? What's the significance? Why?
Well, first of all, I cannot imagine actually wanting to be in Washington any longer than necessary.
Okay.
Uh, so it won't be hard to say I
Argument
want to be.
closed. Need to say nothing further, right?
But also, I feel like when it comes to term limits,
Hmm.
it's really easy to say, yes, I'll support term limits.
Hmm.
It's another thing to put your money where your mouth is.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. Fair enough. And but let me ask you, um, why? Why do we need term limits? What's wrong with having, like, the one argument that could be made against them is saying, hey, there's institutional knowledge that you acquire. So, for instance, I will assume, not having been in office and not really talked to anybody about it, but I'm going to make the assumption that your first term in office, especially at the federal level, is going to be largely a lot of learning. You've got to learn who the players are. You've got to learn who you can work with. You've got to learn the rules. You've got to learn, what information you have access to, what information you don't have access to. You've got to learn about committees and, how bills, get in committee, how they get out of committee, all these things. And like, I remember a video a while back of, Thomas Massey was saying, hey, a lot of people don't understand how the rules work, even people that are actually in these positions. A lot of his peers don't understand it. So I assume that your first term is mostly going to be learning. And then after that, then you can perhaps be more effective. Is that fair? And how does that play into term limits?
I do agree that that is a fair argument, but I do think that there are workarounds.
Okay. Such as?
If you have knowledgeable staffers, for instance, if you have people you can trust to give you that kind of information, that goes a long way. Another thing is that much of that institutional knowledge comes down to knowing which members of Congress have what power. And if everyone is, relatively new, having only been there, for a limited number of terms, then that puts you on even ground with them.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, that sounds fair. Let's move on over to immigration. Quoting here from your site: if we're going to fix border security, it's by addressing the root cause. Common sense immigration reform needs to be the priority for Washington. What does common sense immigration reform look like, and how will Americans benefit from it?
Well, the immigration laws we have right now are absolutely insane. My great-grandmother came in 1929 through Ellis Island.
Okay.
If we had anything like the immigration laws we have now, she'd have been sent home. Many of us who benefit from having been born here are the descendants of someone who came here what we would now consider illegally. I believe that people deserve the same chance that my great-grandmother had. And the vetting process should be very simple. It should be about, are you going to be a threat to the people of the United States?
Okay.
It should not have anything to do with what your qualifications are. When President Trump talked about, they're not sending their best, that particularly grated on me, because that's not what the United States is supposed to be about.
Okay.
There's that poem we all know, the give me your tired, your weak, your huddled masses. This isn't asking for your best and brightest. It's asking, give me the people you thought weren't good enough for you.
Okay.
We will make them into something great.
Gotcha. So the runt of the litter.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like most of the illegal immigration we have going on right now is simply a result of people being unable to come here legally.
Okay.
If you, it's kind of like the drug war. If you put restrictions on something, people are going to get it, but they're going to go through a black market of sorts.
Okay.
They're going to do it illegally. And so immigration is the same thing. It's a commodity, just like uh, alcohol in prohibition.
Right. It's an interesting comparison. I don't think I've heard anybody make it. And off the cuff, it sounds very interesting, and I think I can get behind that. But let me push back a little bit and ask you this. Now, you're not suggesting full wide open borders. It sounds like you're saying, hey, are you a security threat? Very limited amount of oversight on who comes in. So it's not entirely open borders. But many people would argue, libertarians and even like many conservatives and Republicans, maybe not so much on the Democrat side, but many people would say, hey, man, we can't have even an Ellis Island style. That's far too many because we have a welfare system that people are coming in and taking advantage of. Or we just have, maybe you don't want to call it welfare, but people come in and they're taking advantage of things in the United States that we would say, many libertarians would say shouldn't exist in the first place, but we have them. And the likelihood of them going away is very low because the same people who are benefiting from them, they are also voting on whether or not these programs stay in place, whether it's welfare, Medicare, Medicaid, whatever. So how do you respond to people that object on the grounds that we simply are too giving of a society? Our safety net is way too large to allow even an Ellis Island style.
Well, I have heard that argument an awful lot,
mm-hmm.
and I do respect the practical side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd also like to point out that many, the majority of immigrants to the United States do not benefit from these things. They do not. They don't sign up for it. They are here for the American dream, and they want. It's like people who are willing to risk coming here across a border that they know is going to be, difficult and dangerous. People who are willing to abandon Cuba and come here on a raft. There are these people are not the kind who want to sit at home and collect a check. These are the kind of people who want to be productive and do things. They don't want to do things the easy way, because if they did, they wouldn't be taking those kinds of risks.
Gotcha.
Now, yes, this is going to increase the strain because some people are going to take advantage of that. But I've noticed that a lot of the same people who worry about immigration also worry about declining birth rates. And I'm like, your two problems can solve each other.
Okay.
It's like, and I've heard the argument that, people come here from another country and they, try to make the U.S. just like the one they left.
Right.
I'm like, if you wanted to live in a society like the one you left, you wouldn't have left.
Right.
You only came here because you thought this place was better than the place you left.
Right. Now, let me ask, I'll push back a little bit on that.
Okay.
Just to see what you say. That's a common argument also internally to the U.S. So like the running joke is like people from California and New York will move here to Florida. And we're all like, look, leave your policies that you had there that aren't working, leave them there. Don't bring them here, right? There's the concern internally that people, maybe they don't bring 100% of the policies that they fled, but maybe they bring in a few and those few grow into more and more and more, right? Because like the idea being, if let's just say Florida doesn't have a particular policy that California has, enough Californians come over here and they say, look, things were too crazy over there, but this one policy is actually a pretty good policy. Doesn't that kind of start the avalanche, maybe a longer avalanche? So maybe it's, much more slow running. So isn't it possible that some immigrants would come here and maybe they don't like the fullness of what they've got, what they left, but maybe there's a few things that they're like, yeah, this one is actually a good one. This one's a good one. And they advocate for those. So what would your response be to that argument, which I think is a fair argument to say it's like
Mhm.
they're not leaving them behind 100%.
Fair. And I would say that for all we know, a few of them might actually be right.
Okay.
Because I don't think that anyone but the craziest among us would say that our society right now, as it exists, is perfect.
Mhm.
And we can benefit from different ideas. And
Okay.
when people bring these ideas in, we should be having a discourse about
Mhm.
it. I love the idea of a diversity of ideas, even ideas that I disagree with personally.
Mhm.
Uh, for instance, I adore the fact that Bernie Sanders is willing to bring up a bunch of these socialist ideas. I hate the ideas themselves.
Mhm.
I think that they're absolutely insane. But the fact that he's bringing them up means that we can talk about them and determine why they're bad.
Mhm.
And it's like rationality, I think, is the key here. We
Gotcha.
need to be a polite society that can sit down and debate with each other.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. And there may be some truth to that because I have heard people say, and I've said it myself. It seems like we have a generation that'll go through some sort of economic turmoil here in the United States. We get far enough away from it, and the younger generations, we build ourselves back up. We become, we have wealth, we have prosperity, and then some of the younger generations are like, yeah, but it's not really working out as well as I would like. Perhaps we need this socialist policy, and so perhaps the answer to that is just an ongoing conversation, so that we can reiterate why these policies have failed in the first place, rather than hoping that people learn the lesson from a history book, which is what it seems like. So, fair point on that. Um, Let me ask you about healthcare. So, you say, I will not extend Obamacare, nor will I subscribe to any other government intervention in healthcare. Perhaps I'm mistaken, but isn't the Affordable Health Care Act, Obamacare, permanent with only some add on subsidies subject to expiration?
I mean, yes, but you can always introduce legislation uh, to remove it.
Okay.
I would not. I do not believe that the government has any business in regulating healthcare. We need to remove as many middlemen as possible.
Hmm.
The insurance companies themselves are already a middleman
Hmm.
between patients and doctors, but the government stepping in between patients and insurance companies
Right.
uh, confounds the problem. It doesn't it doesn't improve things.
Right.
I would absolutely support any legislation to remove this. Now, yeah, this isn't something that we can just let it sunset.
Hmm.
It would actually require an act of Congress,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is notoriously difficult to happen. Hence the expression.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be trying.
Okay. So you would just vote to remove it, not replace it.
That's correct.
Okay. And then how do you allay people's fears who now have, because like once upon a time when Obama was pushing for it, people had a lot of fears. We talked about death panels. We talked about, you're going to have socialized medicine. You'll have to wait 6 months to, get your broken leg fixed. We had all these scares. and many of them did not come to fruition, but some of them did. People did lose their health insurance. Insurance did rise. So while we can't necessarily guarantee that all the fears would come to pass, some of them would. So how do you allay people's fears, whatever they might be?
Well, one of the things that we can do is we can allow health insurance companies to compete across state lines.
Mhm.
More competition means lower prices. That's just, I think most libertarians and viewers of this would recognize that.
Right.
You get higher quality and lower prices. That's one thing. I personally, right now, I'm uninsured.
Mhm.
So I understand the issues
Right.
that people have about the expense of healthcare.
Right.
And I know that this is a problem, but I do not think that government involvement is going to make it better. It makes it worse.
Mhm.
It's like, and yes, some people are not going to benefit from this as much as others.
Mhm.
That's just the nature of things.
Right.
But I feel like, given over the course of time, this is going to be the better policy that will help the most number of people.
Mhm. Okay. So it kind of comes down to, you know, hey, the maximum number of people is what what removing it would cause. Some people might still struggle, but if I hear you correctly, you're saying in any system somebody will struggle.
Yes. Right
Gotcha.
now, there are people struggling.
Mhm.
Uh, it's like we can't eliminate suffering.
Okay.
All we can do is try to mitigate it. And poverty has been dropping. It's like we feel like things are horrible because they're things are difficult right now for
Mhm.
us. But it helps to remember that we do live in a society that is richer than nearly any throughout history,
Mhm.
and we should recognize that that right now, even people under the poverty line here in the United States are living better than kings during the Renaissance.
Right.
It's like we have things. Our quality of life has been improving,
Mhm.
uh, even if it hasn't been as good as we would like.
Right.
Uh, and uh, and some people have benefited more than others, but that doesn't mean that we're not all benefiting.
Mhm. Okay. What's your? I'm going to get to an audience question here in just a moment. But what's your weakest position against either you? Yeah, I'm sorry, against your Democratic or Republican opponent. I presume in the race that you're running is probably going to be a Republican. That is the more likely out of the big two. So, but what is your weakest position, and how do you intend to overcome that?
Honestly, it is probably the fact that I want to make some serious cuts
Hmm.
to the budget, and that's not popular. I I am tired of seeing people, doing a little bit of trimming along the edges
Hmm.
and acting like they're going to fix our insane deficits from every year and
Hmm.
start paying off our debt just by getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse.
Hmm.
The vast majority of our uh, budget comes down to healthcare uh, and Social Security.
Hmm.
That's more than half of it right there.
Right.
It's like, and then the military is, I believe, like 20-something%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we need to be able to make cuts in order to handle this insane national debt. I have tried to put it into perspective for people. I've said that the current national debt of over $38 trillion, it's like that number does not make sense to people.
Right.
It's like the earliest evidence of fire, controlled fire, was some ash found from what's believed to be a campsite by Homo erectus.
Okay.
From over 1 million years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you had $1 for every second from the time of that ancient campfire, you all the way up to today, you would not be able to pay off the national debt. In fact, what's left over, if in $1 bills, would weigh more than the Great Pyramid of Khufu. Like, this is astronomical numbers. We need to fix it. And the only way we can do that is by having a balanced budget. And the only way we can have a balanced budget is to make serious cuts. And that's just not popular.
Gotcha. All right. How do you plan to overcome that?
I'm hoping that I can convince people of the necessity of this.
Mm-hmm.
That just because this is not popular does not mean that we don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is a looming disaster waiting to happen.
Right.
And like the military, for instance, Republicans in particular love the military. And my father is a veteran. I am so proud of everything he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Several members of my family were career military. But what it comes down to is we have a military that is powerful enough that it could potentially fight every other military on Earth simultaneously.
Right.
That is completely unnecessary. We don't need to be, unless you plan on fighting the whole world at once.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It seems like we might be doing that right about now.
Which, that's another thing I would like to not do.
Right. Because I saw some activity going on, I think, in South America. We're obviously over there bombing the heck out of Iran. There are like 14 countries now that are involved. It's pretty big at this point.
That's the thing. The problem is we've been alienating our allies.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody, we live in an increasingly globalized world.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be able to trade freely. We need to have peaceful and friendly relations with our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be able to count on them if we are ever in danger.
Right.
And by alienating them, that's what makes this huge military necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's, dial back and try making some more friends again.
Got it. All right. Let's head on over to the comments here and let's see what some people are saying. Got a few comments in there. So looks like Joe is on your side. He says, vote Andrew Underwood for Georgia District 14 on March 10th. exclamation point. So make sure you do that. Tub asked, going back to our question, to the conversation earlier, how do you shift that power back? Talking about shifting the power, where, just for anybody that may be joining in late, he's asking about a prior conversation where we said, hey, legislative branch, Congress, has abdicated their duty. They've allowed the executive branch to take too much power, and it's time for them to take some of their power back. So how do you shift that power back?
Well, much of that power comes in the form of these federal agencies, your alphabet agencies,
right?
Which I know libertarians are not fond of anyway. But, like for instance, the EPA has the authority to make its own regulations and enforce them. Regulations should be in the realm of Congress, not the executive branch.
Right.
So we would need to pass legislation limiting these federal agencies, or even abolishing several of them. There are numerous agencies in intelligence and defense whose jobs overlap. It's like, where does the NSA stop and Department of Homeland Security begin?
Right.
Where does it's like, we don't need all of them. It's like, if they're doing the same job, let's eliminate some of them. We can also, Congress has the power of the purse. We've seen the executive branch try to mess with these agencies by changing how much their funding is through executive orders. That doesn't work because even if it holds up under law, the next president can just undo it.
Right.
Congress is the only one whose power who has staying power. What we do as Congress is something that's more permanent, and that's the difference. So we can pass laws that limit the executive branch. This is the now, this isn't going to be something that a lot of members of Congress are going to support. Many of them like abdicating responsibility.
Right.
And I mean, that's why they've been doing it for so long.
Right.
But if we don't have people in there who are willing to take it on, then we're just going to get more of the same.
Got it. All right. Sounds good. Next up, this was a comment, not so much a question, and I think I can address it pretty quickly here for you. Chuck and Money says, hey, are we libertarian for regulation now? Campaign materials said so. I haven't seen a retraction or clarification. So that was actually earlier in the show, Chuck and Money. I did ask him about that, if you're referring to the data centers. Ultimately, it came down to, at the federal level, which is the seat that Andrew is running for. At that level, he simply wants to regulate what government can use AI and data centers for, specifically the federal government. But then at a state and local level, he is sympathetic to the concerns that residents have, and he is going to do his best to represent constituents, even if that means slightly deviating a little bit from libertarianism. So think of it more of a constitutional approach. Did I get that right, Andrew?
That sounds like a pretty good summary.
All right, but you can go check that out. It's earlier in the show where he talks about it. So that's all I got for comments. Let's see here. Oh, I think there was one more. He said I was late to the party. No worries. So were we. I had an audio issue. All right. Final question here. How can people support you, man? You've got like less than a week, or roughly about a week, about 5 days.
Well, more than I have already registered to run again for November.
Okay.
So I'm extending the campaign out to the November election.
Okay.
But Georgia has serious problems. The going back to the aforementioned ballot access laws.
Okay.
Because it's not going to be a special election, I'm not going to have any of those requirements waived. I have already paid the required registration fee of $5,220.
Okay.
Thankfully, the Libertarian Party of Georgia was kind enough to pay 75% of that. And so I only had to cover the 25% out of pocket.
Got it.
But that still represents a significant investment out of my family's resources.
Absolutely.
But more than that, I now have 4 months to collect signatures from registered voters in my district on a petition to allow me to get on the ballot. I have until July 14th to get 28,711 signatures. And that is going to be a Herculean task, especially considering that I live in a largely rural district. People are spread out.
Gotcha.
And so anyone living in this district, I would appreciate volunteers who could go and get these signatures. Anyone who is outside of the district, donations are always welcome. That helps me buy yard signs. It allows me to pay anyone that I need to, who can't afford to go get signatures with their time. It's like if we have enough, we might even be able to do some kind of host some kind of event to try and bring people to us to sign these petitions.
Right.
And then there's, of course, the notarization fees because each page of the petition has 10 signatures and must be notarized separately.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be a serious uphill battle, and anything helps. Sharing on social media, my website, that helps. Doesn't cost anything to you, either your time or your money.
Right.
I'm just hoping. Oh, I see your thing up here says District 10.
Oh, no, I messed up on that. It should be District 14.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure. I saw it earlier, and I thought I corrected it in every place that I had put it, and I made a mistake there. So apologies for that, folks. But the link does work to your website. So apologies, folks. It is 14.
Yes. It's like, but I am really desperately trying to get on the ballot for this. I really believe that this district deserves to be represented in the best way it can.
Right.
I care about the people here. And on top of that, I believe in the libertarian principles. And if I can bring a few of those to fruition in government, then I think I need to do everything I can to for the chance of being able to do that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today, sir. Good luck to you in your election next week, the 10th. So remember that, folks. It is coming up in 5 days. Special election to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene, who had resigned. And then after that, you're saying, hey, I've submitted to keep running because the special election only goes until the general election, correct? And then and then so there'll be another election come November. So he's ready to hit the ground running on that. So go and support him. Sir,
and
I'm going
to if I don't win, then I'm hoping that whoever does win will show the people of this district that they really need somebody like me instead.
Gotcha.
So,
All right, sir. I'm going to put you backstage, do my closing. If you want to stick around and chat after the show, that's fine. If you got to go, I understand totally. But thank you again for being on the show this morning.
thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome. All right, folks. That's the show for today. Hope you found it informative and inspiring. Do me a favor. Please come back later. Drop a comment in. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I should have asked, a tougher question. Maybe there's a correction. What have you? Let me know. I do read the comments. Whatever the case is, though, folks, I'm all out, and I will see you tonight with Alan Buckley, 7:30 p.m. Look forward to that. But with that being said, have a good one. You know that I'm all about supporting organizations that hold my values. Make sure you head on over to blackgunsmatter.shop. They've got apparel, stickers, and more. Use the code LibertyDad, all one word, at checkout to score a 10% discount. Or just hit the referral link in the show notes. That'll make it so much easier. Remember, I'm not just a voice on a mic. I'm a dad who's working hard to deliver to you the best libertarian content. Connect with me on Linktree, where you'll find links to my Patreon and buy me a coffee, because every bit helps keep this show rolling. Plus, you can find me on my other platforms to stay in the loop. With your help, this show, The Message of Liberty, will be seen and heard by more people. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.